Fox and Friends had on Wall Street puppet Stuart Varney, and they're going to talk about a corporate tax avoidance scheme called inversion. This is something that we've spoken about on the show before. I gave you all the details on it. I told you guys exactly how it worked. That segment is posted on YouTube for those of you who want to go back and brush up on it. But no joke, while they're talking about this issue, they come out in favor of corporate tax scams.
Well, apparently Walgreens is the latest company to consider shifting its headquarters overseas due to the United States' high corporate tax structure.
Big companies are feeling due to a major tax loophole, and the president has some pretty harsh words for them.
A small but growing group of big corporations are fleeing the country to get out of paying taxes. They're keeping most of their business inside the United States, but they're basically renouncing their citizenship and declaring that they're based someplace else, just to avoid paying their fair share.
That's the president's big address over the weekend. Here to explain is the host of Varney & Company, Stuart Varney. Stuart, unpatriotic companies leaving the country, what are they thinking?
Okay. The president, I think, is setting up business, setting up the Republicans so that in the election in November he can say, look at those people. They're taking their money overseas, they're unpatriotic, they're not doing the right thing, they're not paying their fair share. It's a setup so that the president can look very good come the November elections.
Right.
There's numerous corporations who want to leave America, put their headquarters, couple of jobs overseas so that they can take advantage of lower tax rates over there compared to the sky-high rates over here. Now, the president wants to put a fence around America, stop anybody leaving. That's what he wants to do. Instead of encouraging them to stay.
Or getting on Congress and say lower the corporate tax rate.
Incentivize
right. But
staying
he
here.
does not negotiate with Congress. He doesn't deal with Congress. He doesn't have friends on the other side of the aisle with whom he could get together and structure some kind of a deal. But the worst result of all of this is that we've got $2.1 trillion of American corporate profits which are going to stay over there. Because if they come back over here, they lose 35% to the federal government.
But instead of admitting that the environment here to maintain business at profit in the United States is bad, the president then is blaming companies for doing what they need to do.
He's saying, stay here, pay up, pay your fair share.
It's amazing how all logic is out the window with these people. Corporations are never wrong. They're arguing in favor of doing tax evasion. Would they argue for you if you're a middle class or a poor person and you didn't pay your taxes? Were they out there arguing in favor of Wesley Snipes when he didn't pay his taxes for a certain amount of time? Would they argue for you if you didn't pay your taxes? No, they'd call you a criminal. Lock him up. What a criminal. That's not right. Isn't it funny when you avoid taxes, they call it tax evasion and it's a crime and you go to jail. When a corporation does it, they say, oh, they're using a tax haven. They use a pretty word all of a sudden. It's a haven. They're not doing tax evasion or tax avoidance. It's a haven. It's no big deal. It's like the Benjamins are basically taking a vacation. The money just wants a tan. That's why it's in the Cayman Islands or Bahamas or elsewhere. Man, they're so stupid. It hurts. It hurts. And then I love when Stuart Varney's like, 2.1 trillion is staying overseas. That's the worst part of this. And who do you blame? Oh, my God, again, it's amazing. They act like, well, obviously you blame Obama and the Democrats for what the corporations are doing. No, you blame the corporations. And then, oh, my God, Obama doesn't negotiate with Congress. Did you really just say that? Are you that fucking stupid? This Congress has literally broken the filibuster record. There is not a single Congress in the recorded history of the United States of America that has filibustered more than Congress under President Obama. Okay? They tried to repeal Obamacare 51 times. And you're going to say that it's Obama that's not negotiating with them? Pretty sure it's them not negotiating with Obama. They shut down the government to try to repeal Obamacare. There's a Democratic-controlled Senate and a Democratic president. It's his signature accomplishment. And they shut down the government to try to repeal it. That's unprecedented obstruction, but you're going to blame Obama for that. Spare me. And one of the best arguments he made was, well, it's a setup. See, it's a setup that Obama's doing the right thing here. How is it a setup? So what, Obama is forcing the Republicans to stand up for corporate criminals that aren't paying their taxes like everybody else has to do? No, the Republicans are the dunces, and they're so owned by Wall Street and by the corporations that they gladly defend them when President Obama and the Democrats say, hey, maybe you guys shouldn't do what you're doing here. And then, look, here is the most important point, because it comes down to the central lie that they're telling you there. And I do mean lie, okay? They're not this stupid. They're very stupid. There's no doubt about that. But they know this fact. They know this fact. Anybody who knows about the corporate tax rate knows this fact, okay? And they're just not telling you. It's a lie. They're purposely misleading you. They said, well, the reason why these corporations don't want to bring the money back here to the U.S. is because then they have to pay an incredibly high 35% corporate tax rate. That's not true. Not even close to true. 35% is what's called the nominal rate. Okay? The nominal rate is not what anybody actually pays. You know what the effective corporate tax rate in the United States of America is? 12%. One of the lowest in the modern industrial world. So when they go out there and they say, well, what do you expect? These corporations are obviously going to go overseas because they have to pay such a high, unfair rate here in the U.S. It's a lie. Pure and simple, it's a lie. The effective rate is 12%, and they don't even want to pay that. But see, that's the point here. Corporations are machines. They are designed and structured only to make more profit, to make more money and pay off their shareholders, because they have a fiduciary responsibility, the corporation does, to their shareholders to give them as much money as possible, and you make money by any means necessary. That's why they're oftentimes compared to rapacious sharks, right? Just make money at all costs. So there needs to be rules that they function within. Well, guess what? When you have politicians, especially on the Republican side, that are bought and owned by the corporations, then they rig the rules in favor of the corporations, and they allow them, instead of paying the low rate of 12% here in the U.S. and to pay their taxes like everybody else has to pay, right? What do? They allow them to go to Ireland and the Cayman Islands and Bahamas and elsewhere and pay 5% taxes or no taxes at all. Okay, the idea that, oh, it's just the Democrats aren't being fair to the corporations, it's a lie. The corporate tax rate is not 35%. It's 12%. And they still don't even want to pay that because the Republicans and the U.S. government, they allow them to get away with avoiding taxes. They wouldn't allow you to get away with avoiding paying taxes. They'd lock your ass up, but they let the corporations get away from it. And Fox News they're all too ready. And just, they can't wait. They're eager to get out there and defend the corporations, even though they're acting in a purely criminal way.